The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Diego Castro, bringing you the biggest headlines from around the world. A U.S. soldier facing disciplinary action has fled across the inter-Korean border into North Korea. The U.S. Army identified the soldier as Private Travis King, who is now believed to be in North Korean custody. Authorities said the soldier was on a civilian tour with a group of visitors to the Panmunjom Truce village, where he crossed over the line, marking the border. U.S. officials are still unsure about what prompted King to cross. However, Reuters reported that two other officials said the soldier had been due to face disciplinary action by the U.S. military. This comes amid tensions in the region, with the arrival of a U.S. nuclear-armed submarine in South Korea, a warning to North Korea over its own military activities.
One of our service members who was on a tour willfully and without authorization crossed the military demarcation line. We believe that he is in the BRK custody. We're closely monitoring and investigating the situation and engaging to address this incident.
North Korea launches two ballistic missiles eastward just hours after a U.S. ballistic missile submarine arrived in South Korea. The first missile reached an altitude of 50 kilometers and covered a range of 550 kilometers, while the second one flew as far as 600 kilometers. Japanese authorities reported that both missiles appeared to have fallen outside the country's exclusive economic zone. Tokyo has lodged a protest on the incident. Meanwhile, South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff has since called on the North to cease such launches. For its part, the U.S. military said it was aware of the missile launches and was consulting closely with its allies and partners. The firings come nearly after a week after North Korea tested its latest Hwasong-18 intercontinental ballistic missile. Pyongyang earlier claimed that the Hwasong-18 launch was a warning to the United States and other adversaries. Russia struck Ukrainian ports after Moscow pulled out a UN-backed deal for safe Black Sea grain exports. According to Moscow, the attack was part of, quote, mass revenge strikes. This comes as an apparent retaliation for Ukraine knocked out Russia's road bridge to the occupied Crimean Peninsula. That prompted Moscow to withdraw from the year-old grain deal earlier this week. For Kyiv's part, it said its government was fighting for Ukrainian farmers and was working on options to keep commitments on food supply. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. Watching One News Now World, I'm Diego Castro. Former U.S. President Donald Trump could be indicted for a third time. In a post on his Truth social media website, Trump said he had received a letter from Special Counsel Jack Smith stating that he was a target of a grand jury probe into efforts to overturn the 2020 presidential election result. Trump added that he has been given 4 days to report, which almost always means an arrest and indictment. Trump has been indicted twice this year over falsifying business records and his handling of classified documents. Israeli police stormed into a crowd of demonstrators in Tel Aviv. With water cannon and horse-mounted officers, they tried to quash protests after a so-called day of disruption on Tuesday. At least 45 protesters were arrested after they blocked highways and staged demonstrations at major train stations. Thousands of Israelis have been protesting against Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's contentious judicial overhaul plan. The government is pushing to pass a law that would curb the Supreme Court's ability to void government and minister decisions. The United Nations Security Council holds its first meeting on the risks of artificial intelligence or AI. China said the technology should not become a, quote, runaway horse, while the US warned against its use to censor or repress people, while Britain acknowledged that AI would fundamentally alter every aspect of human life. It also raised the urgent need to shape global governance of transformative tech, as AI knows no borders. Likewise, UN Chief Antonio Guterres warned of the risks posed by AI to global security.
Let's be clear. The malicious use of AI systems for terrorist, criminal, or state purposes could cause horrific levels of death and destruction, widespread trauma, and deep psychological damage on an unimaginable scale. The technical and financial barriers to access are low, including for criminals and terrorists. Both military and non-military applications of AI could have very serious consequences for global peace and security.
And those are the top world headlines of the hour. Join us again at 9:45 a.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. I'm Diego Castro. We are One News. All sides, all the time.